Hi there, I'm Paridhi, and this is why I transferred from the University of Bath to Ashoka University. Now, first things first, I need to clear up some basics. I finished my grade 12 from India, CBSE, in 2023. Then I went to the University of Bath from 2023 to 2024, where I earned my Certificate of Higher Education, which is something that you get when you exit the program after the first year. Then from 2024 to 25, I took a gap year. While I was at home, I was doing some stuff, but that would be another video. And 2025 to 2029 is the time I'm going to spend at Ashoka, the time I have already spent my first year. And I am completely a citizen of India, and I do not have home status in the UK. I have international student status in the UK. And yeah, that's the basics cleared. And now we can go on to why I decided to transfer. My degree at Bath was BSc Honours Psychology, a 3-year degree in psychology, and in the first semester we had a module called Applying Psychology, in which we were learning all of the different ways we could use a degree in psychology, all of the different career paths that we could go into, and I quickly realized that I wanted to go into clinical psychology, that I wanted to go into research. And when I started trying to understand how I could do that in the UK as an international student, things started looking a little bit bleak. The process essentially was completing the 3-year degree that I was already doing from BPS, from a BPS accredited university, which was no problem because I was already at Bath, and BPS is the British Psychological Society. But after that, the number of seats to get into a doctorate of clinical psychology, something that is required to be able to gain a license to practice, for international students are much less than the ones available for home students, and you require about a year or two of experience, preferably research experience. And the degree that you are going to be pursuing, the doctorate, is 3 years again, and it is something that you have to pay out of pocket for, versus the home students, the NHS pays for it, which makes complete sense. So when I ran down all of the cost analysis, when I ran down all of the immigration policies that they had, things didn't make sense anymore. I'm going to share some of those links with you. I'm going to share all of my references with you. But the doctorate of clinical psychology, and this is from UCL for this year, would cost £1,14,900 for 3 years, just tuition, or with the current exchange rate, 1.5 crores. You add visa fee, you add the cost of living, you get 2.2 crores. That is something that is a major investment, and was something that I wouldn't entirely consider. If I included the fee that I was paying at Bath and all of the undergrad fees, this is currently University of Bath, £32,000 a year, and all of the living fee and the 2 years that you would have to spend in order to gain the experience, the approximate cost of becoming a clinical psychologist in the UK in Indian rupees turns to about 4 crore rupees, including all of the visa costs, the living costs, the 2 years that you're going to spend working. This is something that didn't make sense. And after this, there was no guarantee that you would be given a job in the NHS, or you would be able to remain in the UK indefinitely, because that would have completed about 7 or 8 years of you living there, and you need 10 years to get an ILR. Something just didn't sit right when I went through this entire process. Now, to get to this doctorate, it is quite competitive. In the first place, you need a year or two of experience, and the UK is making it harder to remain in the country by giving you only an 18-month post-study visa. And if you want to switch to a skilled worker visa after the 18 months are over, you need a minimum salary of £41,000 and sponsorship from the company or wherever you're working, which is getting harder and harder due to their recent anti-immigration policies. £41,000 as a minimum salary is something that no fresher is getting, which is turning sort of into a trap that you go there, you spend all of your money on one degree, you can't really remain there because of their policies, and then you have to return. So after all of this entire process, after spending about 4 crore rupees, all of that, you start at £49,000 according to the government website, and there is no guarantee that you will get work in the NHS or otherwise. So this just did not remain a feasible idea or a good idea for me. Coming to my second and rather major point as to why I chose this transfer was my health and the health service in the UK. The NHS currently is absolutely terrible. So while we apply for our visa, we pay about £776 per year for health insurance for all of the health services that we will be availing when we go there. And it takes a month or more for an appointment. After which, I have severe asthma and I was put on the wrong inhalers that made my situation much worse, which made me get much sicker. And that is something that was intolerable, something that I could not deal with, something that quite literally ruined a few months of my life there before I decided to come back. I had a chest infection and there was a 4-hour wait in the emergency room on a Friday night. For medicines, I already knew I needed, since the on-campus GP would be closed for the weekend. And I would not be able to get the prescription medicines that I needed and would have had to suffer the entire weekend had I not gone to the ER. So my only choices were the 4-hour wait or waiting the entire weekend to be able to go to the GP because they were closed on the weekend. This is something that did not sit right with me because I have a number of chronic illnesses and something that did not work for me at all. I needed the health service to be available as and when I got sick, as and when I had an emergency situation. And by the time I came back to India, my regular doctor found out that I was on entirely the wrong medication, on entirely the wrong inhalers, which had made my health worse. I had a severe vitamin D deficiency, which was causing weakness, which was causing depression, a number of other things, and my other illnesses hadn't gotten better in any way. At Ashoka, I have an infirmary that is open 24/7, doctors that are available 24/7. I can walk in and within 15 minutes I will be seen by the doctor available on call in the OPD department. I can get medications right there in the infirmary. However, at Bath, I would have to go to the GP first, which it takes a month to get an appointment for. They would put in my prescription, and in the state of a chest infection, in the state of weakness, I would then have to travel to the city in a bus to be able to get my medication from booths and then come back, which was entirely difficult when you are so ill. Thankfully, I had some friends there who helped me out with this when I was ill, but it's just something that did not help me at all, something that did not make sense, something that was abysmal, quite literally abysmal. That was my second main reason. Some other things that really did affect my experience there was the fact that there's no mess. Now, I completely agree, this is a bit of a skill issue. A kitchen is provided and, every meal is one that you cook for yourself. I did not know how to cook. But as a 17-year-old with multiple chronic illnesses, with weakness as one of my main symptoms, it was really hard to cook 3 meals a day, attend classes, work a job for 4 to 5 hours, study for exams and assignments, have a social life. All of those things were very difficult to maintain. And because of that, for me to remain healthy became almost impossible. I was sick and only getting sicker because of the lack of care. I was therefore weak and extremely low on energy, unable to cook, eating cheap, ready-to-eat meals that required low effort, and then not getting the nourishment I needed to feel better. It became this terrible loop that destroyed both my mental and physical health, something I could not break out of, because if I had no energy, I couldn't cook the nutritious meals for myself that I needed to, and if I didn't have the nutrition I needed, I was not going to recover. I worked a job for extra expenses that I wanted to take care of by myself. I wanted to pay for the shooting club. I wanted to pay for nights out with friends. I just wanted a certain freedom that certainly is not afforded in India. As teenagers, you can't really work such jobs. The job did help me get more extroverted because I was forced to talk to customers. But that was the first time in my life that I faced a lot of disguised racism. I was scheduled to work on Holi, and I went into work in a plain black kurta and jhumke, and nothing against their dress code at all, entirely within the policies. And my manager, he laughed at me, he snickered at me multiple times while he was briefing me for my shift. I got weird looks from the other workers as well. It was something that just, I knew in the back of my mind what was happening, but it was so disguised that I could not bring it up. On the other hand, something more outwardly was my first day in the UK when I went to get open a bank account. An old lady outright yelled at me to get out, go back to my own country, leave, go back to where I came from for a good 2 or 3 minutes. So as a 17-year-old in another continent by herself for the first time, that was a scary experience. Now, I'm not saying that Ashoka is all good and that Bath had no advantages. Of course not. The rankings and recognitions of Bath are much better. The QS ranked 150. Ashoka is somewhere in the 1200 bracket. I understand that. Safety over there was much better despite the racism. The safety as a woman that I experienced there versus the safety that I would experience here in India, of course, is going to be miles apart. And the faculty there, I would say, in some senses, is better than the one at Ashoka. But overall, it just these positives were not enough for me to stay there, and it just made more sense for me to transfer. Coming to why Ashoka specifically in India made sense for me now. The first reason is that Ashoka has a transfer program. No other university that I know in India has this transfer program available, and although the amount of credits that were transferred wasn't up to my expectations, that is another separate video I would have to make, but it was a step ahead than having to restart my entire degree from scratch. Another reason was that this was a 4-year degree with research, which is required for most PhDs or clinical psychology courses, but that was not an option at Bath. The with research was not an option. They have a 3-year degree. They do have a dissertation, but to have this title, the psychology with research, meant more to me, meant more to the universities that I was going to apply to my PhD for, and they told me as well. And a lot of countries, the US, India, they all value a certain 16 years of education, a 4-year degree. That is all in the regulations for a lot of things. RCI keeps changing the rules that they have for this, but the last time I checked, they do require a 4-year degree to be able to gain entry into the clinical psychology master's course. Or you could do a bridge course, you could do a diploma, but that it just made more sense to switch to the 4-year one, because there's a lot of countries recognize the 4-year degree more than the 3rd-year degree. Ashoka has a mess and medical services around the clock, which is much better for nutrition, much better for my health, much better for my sanity. It has been a blessing to be able to go to the infirmary whenever I needed, to be able to visit the doctor whenever I needed, to figure out what was going on with me, what medications I needed, and to gain that medication in as less as 15 to 20 minutes, not having to wait 4 hours or an entire weekend. It is, and I'm very privileged to say this, Ashoka by no means is a cheap university to be able to attend, but it is much more cost effective in comparison to the 4 crores that it would take me there to become a clinical psychologist without guarantee of a job afterwards. It was a no-brainer in that sense as well. It allows for greater choice. Like I said, the 4-year degrees are valid in India. It is valid in the US for PhD programs. It gives me a better quality of life overall for me personally. It provides more support for health. The campus experience for me is much better than the one I had at Bath. There are services that are available for me. There are the friendships that I've had here. I've blossomed, they have bloomed. The amount of clubs that I've been able to join, the beautiful support that I have had. I did not experience any of that at Bath when I compare it to the lovely people and to the lovely experiences that I've had here. I will say, yes, Ashoka is much more academically rigorous than Bath. The assignments that I've had to submit here, all of the work that I've had to do, the attendance policies, everything has been way more rigorous than what Bath has been. But I feel like the support that we get along with that, the fact that I don't have to cook my own meals or work a job or do my own laundry, means that I'm able to focus on just the academic rigor, just the time that I have. I'm able to focus it on all the studies that I need to do, on all of the requirements that I need to complete before I can apply for my PhD, so that I can become a better candidate, something that I would not have been able to do at Bath. We have some better opportunities. There's things like ISMs, there's student collaboration. There's a lot of different things that you can do here, and I have the ability to do a minor. Actually, I'm doing a double minor, so my degree title at Bath would be just BSc Psychology Honours. That's it, the 3-year degree. But here my degree title becomes BSc Honours Psychology with Research, minor in Biology and minor in Creative Writing. Something that I do believe will give me an edge or a step up when I apply for the PhD that I want to get into, or when I apply for my further studies. Those are all of the reasons that I decided to do this transfer, that I decided to go to Ashoka, and I could not be happier that I made this decision. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. I would be more than happy to answer. I'm going to put all of the links, all of the references, everything that I used for this video, all of the numbers that I've dropped, the information that I have in the description. And that is something that you can go check out for yourself. I hope this has helped you make a more informed decision if that is what you were looking for. And yeah, I'm going to make some more videos about the transfer process at Ashoka, about what it was like for me, about what my sort of stats were, how the AAT was for me, all of those things. So if you have questions about that, you can leave those as well, and I'd be very, very happy to answer. And yeah, I think that's about it. I'm going to leave my Instagram. If you want more videos like this, you can feel free to subscribe. No pressure. And yeah, that's about it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this video helped, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.